This video explains the setup and features of the VacasaLabs Smart Lock demo. When you get your demo Smart Lock, go ahead and remove the battery cover and place the remaining battery, or all the batteries if none are in there, into the battery holder. This will turn the lock on. These batteries are designed to last a year, even under the frequent usage that we see in vacation rentals. Go ahead and replace the battery cover. The main button on the lock should now be blinking orange. This shows that the lock is ready to have its Wi-Fi settings configured. Go ahead and grab a smartphone or go to a laptop or any computer with a wireless card and connect to the VacasaLabs eLock network. And then open a browser and go to the address 192.168.4.1. This will bring up the Wi-Fi configuration page. Select your Wi-Fi network from the drop-down list and enter the password if there is one. You'll now see a connecting screen. In about 15 seconds it will show a success screen if it successfully connected. If the success screen does not come up and instead you get a page not found or similar error, just go ahead and hit the refresh button and then you should see the success. Now if you look back at the lock, you'll see the green light on the lock blinking to acknowledge that the Wi-Fi network is set up and making its initial contact with the servers. If the Wi-Fi configuration failed, it would continue to blink orange and you'd be brought back to the page to re-enter the information. So now that the lock is connected, go ahead and go to elocks.vacasalabs.com and select which demo lock you've received. You'll now see the basic web app, which will be greatly enhanced into both a mobile and web app, but this basic version includes all the major features. On the main lock info tab here, you see the current state of the door. It's unlocked and the door is closed. With these demo locks in the demo mounts, you will not see the functionality of door open and door closed, but that will be present in the final locks, and it can generate events both in the API and push events to your mobile phone when the door is opened or closed. You also see the state of the battery, and you see available actions that can be taken via the app or API. Looking back at the lock, anytime that the door is unlocked, if you hit the main button, it will lock and it will send an update that it has locked, and you see that change on the main status page. You can lock and unlock it with the key. You can lock and unlock it from inside. Doing any of these will update the main status screen within several seconds of the change. Let's go ahead and look at the invite functionality, which is probably the main functionality that would be used in a vacation rental setting. An invite is a link which is sent to a recipient to open the door. So put in an email address, a start time, and an end time. If you leave the start time blank, it will start now. This is when the invite will be valid for. And then we can put in a max number of uses. If we leave this blank, it will work an unlimited number of times. But if we put a number in here, then they will be limited to unlocking the door that number of times with that particular invite. You can select whether or not to generate a backup code, which means they'll get both a link and a code in their email in case they aren't able to access the link or their mobile device at that time. They can type the code in and it will work as well and count against the total number of openings if that's set. So you see it generates a unique link and a backup code as well. This would be sent to the recipient automatically. If they click this link, then the door will unlock when they press the main button. The other way the door can be unlocked remotely is directly from the app by clicking the unlock link, or similarly through the API. With either of these three methods, once the door is ready to unlock, all the user needs to do is press the main button on the lock. It will contact the server and go ahead and unlock. Next we'll take a look at the code section. And this is kind of a more basic version of the invites, in which you can just enter a code directly or leave that blank and it'll generate one for you. Same other parameters, a start date and time, end date and time, and a maximum usage. So here we've generated the code of 4321, and we've given it only one use. Now a user could enter that code into the lock. It will unlock one time, and then that code will no longer be usable. So we'll go ahead and see it entered into the lock here. If the lock has not contacted the server since the new code was added, it may take a few more seconds to unlock while it checks for the new code, but the procedure is the same. We go ahead and see if we enter that code again to try and unlock. Since it was a one-time use code, the lock will blink red and refuse to unlock. Now we'll take a look at the Settings tab. There are several settings here for advanced users. Contact interval is how often the lock will check in with the server if it hasn't had any other reason to contact the server, such as a lock, unlock, door open, or close event. Rarely will this come into play, but it ensures that the lock checks in periodically so we know it's there, and it can download new codes so that those codes can be used even in the event of a power outage or internet connection loss. The next option is the auto lock interval. This can be turned off or set for various times. This sets how many minutes the lock waits from the last action until it locks the door if it is left unlocked. We'll go ahead and set that to 1 minute so that we can demonstrate that next. Any change to the contact interval or auto lock interval does not become live in the lock until the next action is taken in the lock, or the next contact interval is reached. So to download these settings into the lock, you can do anything, lock, unlock it, or you can, when it's locked, press the main button, and that will also force an update. You can also just wait until the next contact interval, and the settings will be downloaded at that time. Below these settings, it shows when the next update will occur if no other action occurs before that. The next options we see are the push notification options. This allows a user of the mobile app to select which event should generate a push notification to their phone. Then after that we see the geofencing option. This allows a user of the mobile app to enable geofencing so that when they are near their lock, all they have to do is press the main button and it will unlock. Combined with the auto lock functionality, this allows a user to not have to use invitations or codes for their own personal access. Next we see a time zone setting. This is the time zone that's used when setting the start and end times of invites and codes for this lock. And then finally we see the webhook setting. If you set a webhook URL, it will receive a post request with every action generated by the lock. Next we'll go ahead and force a download of the new settings we just set for the auto lock interval. We do this by pressing the main button on the lock while the lock is locked. We'll see it will blink green while it contacts the server, and once it stops, we know the new settings are there. Now if we look at the main status page, instead of showing that the door is unlocked, it shows that an auto lock is pending, which means the door is unlocked but will relock itself after the set auto lock period. If we waited a minute, we would then see that the door will go ahead and automatically relock itself. Finally, we'll look at the event log. This is a log of all the actions taken by the lock. Unlocks, locks, invalid key entries, and all the details of each event. This is the same data that would be sent to the webhook if that URL is set. That completes the features of the VacasaLabs Smart Lock demo. The final version will have full custom branding, including box, manual, and the main button on the lock. An additional feature that you're not able to see is that these locks are able to automatically update themselves over the Wi-Fi whenever an update or fix is released. This ensures that the locks will always be up to date and secure. In addition, these locks use end-to-end encryption to talk to the servers. And then of course the mobile app and API also use encryption. This avoids any security concerns with Wi-Fi networks, even open ones, and shared internet connections. A simple, cheap cellular Wi-Fi hotspot can be used in homes where internet service is not available but cellular service is.